Welcome back to the 2020 APTA National Championships presented by our local sponsor BTIG and APTA national sponsors Viking and Uline. We're live from the Country Club of Darien in Darien, Connecticut on the APTA network presented by eNet Live. I'm Mark Fischel along with Matt Garavaglia bringing you this quarterfinal popcorn match between Arraya Parsons and Broderick Palmer. Matt, do you want to identify the players in the court for our fans?
So back here at the baseline, on the deuce side, we have Jared Palmer, and on the ad side with the black hat on top, and the lefties are Drew Broderick. They're three-time national champions. They're playing against Juan Arraya, who's on the deuce side at the net in the blue top and colorful pink socks, as well as Mark Parsons playing in there with the greenish hat and the dark colors.
Okay, let's take a look at the draw, see the teams got here. And you can see that Broderick Palmer were really tested in their last match, and they've had a tough road. I mean, the story is going to be about Jared Palmer and how fresh he is and how he's going to play, because Jared hasn't played a tournament all season long. And that'll bring us to our Viking keys to winning. And here they come. So for Arraya Parsons, it's Tess Palmer. Palmer played his first tournament of the year last weekend in Navasink at the Pro Flight Paddle event. They lost in the first round to Arraya and Lubau, and then almost lost in the back draw to Lipovair Protsenko. We're down match points. So control the net for Arraya Parsons. I think that's a big key. And then for Arraya, the issue always is control his emotions. When he's under control, he's just as good as there is. So that's Arraya Parsons. For Broderick Palmer, it's got to be about tempo. If the match is played really fast, I think that really benefits Arraya Parsons, and I look for them to slow things down. The Palmer forehand, that's the big weapon on this side of the court, and that's the shot they rode to 3 consecutive national championships. And finally, I want to talk about Broderick's court positioning. I think he's been playing a little bit deep in the court this year. And when he's 3 feet behind the baseline, that backhand of his, which is so precise, is not quite the weapon it is when he's in tight. So those are our players. There's the matchup. These teams have never met in an APTA National Championship. When Broderick Palmer went through their run of 3 consecutive, they beat Arraya and Morneau in their last of their 3 titles in Philadelphia, and they beat Durant Parsons in the 2 previous ones. So sun's going to be a factor today, at least for another hour or so. I think sunset in Darien today is in the neighborhood of 5:50. So I think it's a big advantage for Broderick Palmer having a lefty on their team.
Yeah, definitely with the lefty on the team in the next half hour to the hour to sunsets, it'll be a little easier for him to can control the overheads from that side. You'll see, beginning of the match, they'll test it out. They'll, from the back court, if you notice where Parsons and Arraya are, they're looking, big time in the sun. But it's going to be for all the players, so they've dealt with it. They've been here, so not too worried about that for the excitement of a quarterfinal with the last 4 out of 5 national championships on the court.
Yep, with the exception of Hughes Powers, these guys have won all the nationals. If you count Durant Parsons,
yeah,
you're going back to 2009. Goodspeed Manziger before, other than the Hughes Powers title in Chicago. Yeah. These 4 guys have been part of every single national title for the last 10 years. Players warming up. What do you think of that match last week when Arraya and Lubau beat Broderick Palmer in the PFP event? Do you think that's going to give Arraya some confidence?
I think with Arraya, confidence is never an issue, especially going into a match. His big thing is he's got to keep his head positive.
I'm just looking for when I can do the
Mark's done it phenomenal, with him. So.
Okay, we're going to go to chair umpire. believe that's Bill Horn. You can introduce the players.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the quarterfinals of the 2020 Nationals. This match is best of 3 sets with tie breaks. To my right, currently serving from the ad court from Stamford, Connecticut, Juan Arraya. And his partner, warming up in the deuce court from Weston, Connecticut, Mark Parsons. To my left, in the deuce court from Summit, New Jersey, Drew Broderick. And his partner in the ad court from Menlo Park, California, Jared Palmer.
So Palmer,
Broderick and Palmer have elected to serve.
So Palmer, after playing regularly for about 5 or 6 years, didn't play at all this year. Jared's living in Menlo Park. He's teaching tennis out there. His family is actually living in Stockholm, and he's been commuting, which is quite a commute. So this is the first year we haven't seen Jared, and honestly, I think Jared's been the best player in the country the last 5 years, I would say, before this season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If there's one person out there out of all these guys that don't take, they can take time off and still scare people, it's Jared. He's the most aggressive volleyers out there, and I talked to some of the players that have played him over the last 2 days, and they're like, he keeps getting better and better. And the big points is where he actually plays his best, is which we've seen in the past. That's where some people take a lull. He actually jumps up.
Yeah, they had a tough battle with Crick and Lofgren, and Jared kind of imposed himself. Crick and Lofgren were up 2-1 in the third, and Jared started bringing that forehand and ultimately was just too good. So it looks like Mark Parsons is going to serve. I think he's got a ball. No, it's Drew Broderick serving. Right now it's hard for them to see the court, and it's hard for us to see the court. Hard for us to see anything. I think we got another half an hour of this.
Ready. Broderick to serve.
Okay, so that's Drew Broderick serving to Juan Arraya. Look at how aggressive Palmer has situated himself. Great get from Parsons.
Love 15.
And I'm really interested to see the tempo with Broderick and Palmer play. Last year, their final full season together, they played fast. Great backhand from Parsons. And let me look at that play. That is fast. You see Parsons staying back. Arraya Parsons really not interested in coming to net. And Broderick staying back. We got 3 guys in the backcourt. Here comes Arraya. And Palmer looks a little confused on the second point.
You'll see, I think you will see a little more of the one-up, one-back with these guys. And, different shows, different looks. It's fun to watch. It's not just your typical 2-up, 2-back. You'll see a broad variety of not just spins, but formations and communications and talking that, you'll see, the best to the best, and then at the same time, you'll see these guys. We'll teach you, like, in a way, how to do this, because I think more and more, even club level players can learn from the positioning, not the exact spins and shots, but learn from how not just to only play your typical 2-up, 2-back.
Well, how much of the court positioning we've seen so far is related to the sun?
Yeah, I mean, I think, with, as you said, when Parsons ripped that ball past, he had no intuition about coming to the net.
15-30.
So I guess Broderick made that shot. Ended up at his feet, so I guess it bounced back over the net. And Parsons has just been hitting that backhand so cleanly. As he hits one through there. Palmer misses a ball in transition.
15-40.
I mean, in Philadelphia, Parsons was the best player on the court in the finals against Durant Mitchell. Just hit a number of laser beam backhands. Nope, misses the volley. And again, if you're finding that Parsons backhand on a regular basis, you're going to finish second.
As you said, he's dialed into it, and when he's dialed into it, you have to stay away from it because it's a shot that he can put wherever he wants.
Well, Parsons missed the first half of the year. He played one tournament. That was the Western New England's. His next tournament was in Boston in late January. He was clearly rusty, played poorly, went to Short Hills 2 weeks later, played worse, and then came to Philly 2 weeks after that and was absolutely brilliant. And the guy is a gamer. I mean, he's not by coincidence does he have 4 national championships with 3 different partners. Now we'll see what Broderick Palmer can do with the Sun. There they shift to have Arraya's overhead in the middle. And at least for this point, you see Broderick Palmer playing a very slow tempo. Palmer's not looking to get to the middle to hit that forehand.
But he said it will be tough for those guys. I mean, the look up and there's the fair move by Jared, and but it will be tough from that backcourt early.
I think all 4 guys right now are content to play some slow points until the sun disappears.
You're right, Mark. The other thing about it is you've seen how many overheads has gone at what, that's the second or third overhead that's gone, not in the middle during this, point. Everything's just down in the middle. They're just testing, not just testing it, but they're, they don't want to put themselves in bad positions.
Arraya with the drop shot. And there's a ball that Jared Palmer normally would get.
15 love.
I mean,
Just hasn't seen anything like that.
No.
It's a little rusty.
Jared's the only person too, Jared Palmer, that has switched paddles like 3 different times this tournament. So
15 all.
that's
Looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
Great return there from Broderick. Finds Araya's right hip. You see how quickly they get Palmer out of that ad court. They do not want to subject him to Araya's spins. The missed volley there from Arraya. Parsons catches the nick. Great volley from Parsons backing up. Hard to tell, Matt, but it looks like the sun's not nearly the factor on court 2 as it is on court 1.
Yeah, it looks like they have
30
definitely
all.
have a little more coverage over there. Some shadows and stuff, but they also have a couple lefties over there.
And a lefty over here, too.
That court, the criteria here is you've had to work for Brad Easterbrook for at one point.
A couple of Brad's assistants over there. Former assistants.
Yes.
30 all here. Broderick Palmer playing real slow. Great get.
Great control. But you can also notice, though, at least Juan expected him to get it. A lot of times people had a drop shot like that, and they get burned themselves. So
Yeah, Palmer's got to be careful with that off-base drive. Arraya'd love to jump on that ball or spin it if he finds Arraya''s backhand. Long, grinding point. I think all 4 players agreed to play some long points until the sun went in. Great blitz there from Palmer.
but I think that's something that
30-40.
Parsons is a great volleyer, but he's 90% not nearly as close to the net as Arraya, and you might see some of that with those hitting the ball at his feet and then trying to blitz in a little bit.
Great exchange there. And you see Palmer kind of shielding his eyes. Parsons Durant invented the permanent eye, with Durant kind of hanging on the net and Parsons hitting the hard roller into the deuce court. And Arraya Parsons have been known to use it. It'll be interesting to see if they fall into it at all. Really test Jared Palmer over there. Palmer's blitzing was so good when he was at the top of the game. Just put so much pressure on you with his hands.
He's the only one I've known that has taken a ball that should be a defensive volley and turned it into offensive volleys. And it's not just like the 1 out of 10, it was like the 9 out of 10. And people said that to me. They're like, I've hit my best shots in the world, and he just volleys them back better. Where a lot of times you said, I've hit a good shot. They made a great volley, but it was not offensive.
Well, I remember Corey Parr telling me a story about coming up and hitting a really good volley on a blitz. And Jared hit the ball back past him so fast he never even saw
Broderick
it.
Palmer.
There, Arraya
Score is
misses the
1-all
big cut shot,
first
and it's
set.
1-all first set. Team on the Sun side has won both games. So Jared Palmer to serve, and Drew Broderick is staying back. Give you an idea of the conditions. And Palmer
Love
faults.
15.
Interesting, huh?
Interesting that
And Palmer likes to serve wide from the ed court, but Broderick's got to be wider than him.
he's still, partly comes in.
Love
I don't
30.
think he. That's the part about not playing a lot this year together, not just together, but playing about, when they try different formations off the serves and things, you're not just used to what they're going to do, compared to where if they did that, 2 or 3 tournaments, they would know, exactly where to go.
Good eye.
Love 40.
With 2 missed lobs and a fault from Broderick Palmer. That's surprising. And there Arraya catches the nick.
Game.
BTIG is a
Arraya
global
Parsons,
financial
they lead the
services
first set,
firm
2 games to 1.
specializing in institutional trading, investment banking, research, and related brokerage services. With an extensive global footprint and more than 600 employees, BTIG operates out of 18 cities throughout the U.S., Europe, Asia, and Australia. BTIG offers execution expertise and insights for equities, equity derivatives, ETFs, fixed income, currency, and commodities. The firm's core capabilities include global execution, portfolio, electronic and outsourced trading, transition management, investment banking, prime brokerage, capital introduction, corporate access, research and strategy, as well as commission management and more. Okay, Mark Parsons to serve, 2-1 first set.
It'll be interesting to see. Yep. I mean, you can't see at the net, so a great pickup.
There's that great backhand from Arraya. Just flicks that ball off the back wire. He's got so much variety on that shot. Really changed the way the deuce court is played. As Parsons faults.
15 all.
Just hate to fault when you're on the good side of the court. Although he's in the sunny side now.
But if you're not serving and volleying, that's the hard part about, it's missing the serve when you're not really putting, thing back in there. You're not taking the chance of missing a volley.
And there's Arraya. A great forehand from Parsons. A spectacular cut winner from Arraya. Kelly Diesel will be marking that shot. (30-15). Parsons almost faults again. Interesting that Broderick Palmer aren't trying to come to net here.
It's a new eye, instead of, one guy at the service line, they're staying back, hitting some ground strokes. And, I mean, if you have Juan at the net that not only has got great volleys, but can actually put a kill shot away.
Really interesting formation. There's Broderick's shot hit by Arraya, that little Zorro overhead. Parsons misses the backhand.
30 all.
Takes us to 30 all.
But I'd like when Broderick and Palmer didn't just take the net over, they waited their opportunity, and it sounds weird, but you're like, why lob? Because, when you're lobbing, you're putting, Parsons can't just come in and do something with it where he loves to, drive balls off that backcourt. And Juan, then all of a sudden, if he wants to hit it, he has to do a lot of work. And then he might have it down one bad overhead. He doesn't have a partner to help him there.
Parsons misses another backhand.
30-40.
Was set up nicely for that one.
You can hear Juan, talking to Mark at least, and that's something that you'll see. We talk about the teams and they play, and the communication is so key because those are times that Mark wants to rip it, but all of a sudden somebody's up, he knows not where to hit it. Where you'll see some of the teams that we've seen the last 2 days that may not be playing main draws now. The communication isn't as good. And
Great volley from Palmer. They take control of the net. Ryan misses the forehand, and it's 2-all.
Game, Broderick Palmer. Score is 2-all, first set.
Great crowd here at CCCD.
15 love.
Just a weird start to the match with the sun. Everyone's trying to kind of figure it out a little bit.
You know, Mark, you're watching this, and it's, you know, I think very precise, smart overheads. You know, you have some sun issues, and we were just watching that match, the ladies' match, and watching some of these. They're bringing it, and you know, I think one of the big difference, one of the real big differences now in the men and the women's game is, you know, the women have really taking the adaptation of, you know, not waiting and waiting, and they're waiting for the right shots, and it's fun to watch. And then Broderick, he was the one that, you know, he'll take you and he'll make you say, all right, if you're gonna beat me, it's gonna be the old Manzinger good speed. No, when he's at the net, he'll try and do things, but he'll say, okay, you're gonna beat me. It's gonna take it's gonna take everything you got.
And that was vintage Broderick Palmer. Every other team in the country would have retreated there. They closed the net, made the volley, and it's 30 love. Oh, great shot from Broderick.
40 love. 40-15.
Great pickup.
Parsons hit a forehand off the back wire.
Game, Broderick Palmer. They lead the first set 3-2.
You know, as we were talking about, it's tough for us to see over here a little bit, but I looked out for a second and you can see the amount of people that are here coming in to watch. I mean, it's been a great atmosphere, and you know.
There's the Arraya great cut shot we saw last game.
And then, you know, real big props out to the Country Club of Darien and to Mark and Tiernan and Carl for, you know, great job. And they're coming in drones. I'm getting messages from, you know, Long Island and from other areas saying, you know, how amazing is it? You should come up, and they're all coming up from all over to watch this.
So in the PTI tournament, Iverson Sanford won the first set over Gambino Hochstedt, and Cobbs Goldberg up 4-2 versus Lawton Dawkins. And I would say we got another 15 minutes of the sun before it disappears. And there's that Broderick backhand. And there he is, short in the court.
15.
And that's when it's most effective.
Well, as you said, I mean, when Drew plays, you know, Drew Broderick plays, you know, near the baseline, you know.
A great exchange there.
Because he's got such, you know, all that. There's that backhand again.
From inside the baseline that time. And that sun is going down, and there are going to be a lot of happy people, I know, in this booth. Boy, Arraya Parsons with some wild
Love 40.
misses.
Game, Broderick Palmer.
Boy, that was
they lead
fast.
the first set 4 games to 2.
Okay, so Jared Palmer to serve 4-2, first set.
Mark, you talked about the key of the tempo, and you think this tempo here is, I know Parsons, he'll love to play. He'll play slow as much as he wants to play fast. He'll play. What do you think of this tempo for those two?
I think it's great for Broderick Palmer. I think the faster the play, the more it benefits Arraya Parsons. I mean, Broderick Palmer, the best volleying team I've ever seen for a few years. Misses the volley long there.
Love 15.
Going Australian against Parsons. This is the serve long.
Love 30.
Palmer probably had the best serve in the game over the last 4 years. Very few faults. Hard, heavy serve, deep in the box. Very reliable. Great leg court serve.
15-30.
This time Broderick in the regular formation. Arraya blitzes, misses it.
30 all.
That's the one where Parsons has a heck of a good backhand, but I don't think, against Broderick and Palmer, it's the one you can't blitz because they're going to be on the net.
30-40.
Where a lot of other teams are off the net and that ball dips.
Point for 4-3. Great volley from Palmer there.
Not up.
Great shot from Broderick.
Deuce. Advantage Parsons.
3-2, Burris or Doya on the next court. Another point for 4-3. And this is where Broderick Palmer were so tough, getting the ball through them so hard. Overheads were good, and they just volleyed so well. Drew Broderick is one of the best I've ever seen at staying on the backhand. And for a lefty, that's just remarkable. You see Arraya, he'll block lob, and then cut the ball with his backhand, just chip it at you.
I mean, it seems to me that they're, you know, staying away from Mark a lot right now, and you know,
Great volley from Broderick from off the net. There's that chip I talked about. That one was more of a drive. There's the chip. There's so much variety there. So 3-all. Marisha Doya, Anderson Bostrom. Another long point here.
I think they played that game during this point.
Arraya misses the lob wide. Not happy about that. Right now, Arraya and Parsons are kind of looking for some answers from the backcourt. Palmer's faulted several times this game, but they haven't had a lot of answers at the net, at the backcourt, when Broderick Palmer have been at the net. And we talked about tempo. We've seen very little of those crazy points with great gets and scrambling. That Broderick backhand's been a real weapon early. Arraya misses an overhead
Advantage,
wide, and he's
Palmer.
made some really sloppy errors early.
You're right, though. I think Drew's positioning of taking early,
Game.
stepping
Broderick
in, and
Palmer,
taking
they
those
lead the
guys,
first set,
you know,
5
you
games
know,
to
going
2.
Jared a little, you know, trying too much on a couple overheads. Not with spins, but trying to like precisely put him into the corner. And you know, as you said, the
Yep,
tempo
I
itself
gotcha.
right now, after the first couple games, has definitely been in Broderick Palmer's favor. And you know,
Scream of anguish in the next court. Okay, Parsons to serve, 2-5. It's 4 games in a row they've lost. And now they're on the sunny side, which will be sunny for another 10 minutes or
ball.
so. That's the first miss from Broderick
15
Palmer
love.
over in the fault or two in a while.
taking out the ump.
How good is Broderick at that mid-court volley? Just amazing.
15 all.
Another miss.
Mark, you were talking earlier about it's the Nationals, and Saturday is such a fun day of watching all these, you know, the top players in the men and women's playing and stuff. But I've also heard that, you know, it's sometimes getting just your goal is to get this, you know, win or get this through Saturday. But those last matches on a Saturday when you have a couple hundred people watching is definitely different than most of any other match out there.
And Broderick Palmer making no mistakes at all, and Arraya's making a lot of mistakes right now. Anderson Bostrom up 4-3 on the next court. Look at Broderick run. Boy, he just covers the ball so well. Big forehand from Parsons. Caught that ball high.
30 all.
First bad overhead we've seen from Broderick Palmer in about 3 games.
You know, and that's the thing. It's, you know, the thing with Parsons' forehand, it is better than 90% of the people's forehand. Is that, but backhand is just so good that people forget it. And when he hits it, it's more of a
40-30.
Yeah, his backhand's better than 100% of the other backhands. Point for 3, 5-3. There you see Parsons ducking. Arraya missing another ball in transition.
Deuce.
Sun is pretty much gone. It's no longer a factor on the court. Big backhand through from
tweener.
Great get from Parsons. And there he misses the volley, and that takes us to set point.
Advantage, Broderick.
Boy, the set's been remarkably easy for Broderick Palmer. He's played almost flawlessly.
Yeah, besides the, what is that?
And they're Parsons' fault, and it's game in first set.
Broderick Palmer, they win the first set, 6-2.
That's it. You know, the thing with Broderick Palmer too is, you know, they've been there, they've done that.
Okay, we'll be back in a moment after these messages right here on the APTA network, presented by eNet Live.
When people think of Roto-Rooter, they typically just think plumbing and water cleanup. And they wouldn't be wrong, but we do a whole lot more. Roto-Rooter. Yeah, we do that too.
Okay, welcome back to the
30-15.
APTA National Championships. We're in this quarterfinal battle between Broderick Palmer, Arraya Parsons. They started really fast. 2 missed returns from Arraya Parsons. And it's 30-15 with Broderick serving. Arraya has missed a lot of balls. Expect him to steady the ship right here.
I like the way that you were talking about the court positioning, and it seems like Drew Broderick has really put his stamp on taking the middle away, you know, so that, you know, taking the middle away, stepping up. They're not, you know, just sitting there letting those guys just play it in his corner, play at him. And by doing that, it kind of, I mean, Jared likes getting a lot of balls because it gets him more into that rhythm.
Boy, Anderson Bostrom playing great on the next court. Looks like they got a point for 5-3.
Bad luck.
40-15.
Come on, buddy. Let's go.
5-3 Anderson Bostrom. Arraya Parsons just done no damage from the backcourt at all.
Game, Broderick
we were
Palmer.
talking
They lead
about
the second
Jared
set,
not
1
playing.
game to love.
Jared's
They
not
won the
playing a
first
whole
set
lot.
6-2.
The one thing, the one thing about that is for Jared is, when he's not the teaching professional on the paddle court, so he hasn't seen 10,000 balls a week like the rest of them. And when it does at the end of by the time you get to the nationals, it can take a, small tall. It can be a breath of fresh air when you're only seeing the balls a little bit finally towards the middle of the year.
Lawton Dawkins won the first set, and the other PTI semis 6-2. So the question, Matty, is what do Arraya Parsons have to do to turn it around? Because right now it doesn't look like they have any answers at all.
I think, it sounds right, but Juan's got to get his swag back a little bit. He just looks a little, he's like playing into, Drew wants to lull you down, and he'll take you over, He's got Drew's overheads are definitely, more offensive than people think. His backcourt is where he's just so, not lethargic, but he'll draw you and draw you. But Juan is just, I think, maybe should, trying to, they hit harder ones, but just trying to take.
Oh, what a volley from Broderick. He wins another exchange.
Love 15.
He's not used to losing. He's 90% of his exchanges at the net, and it gets in your head just a little bit. Hopefully, he can right that part.
Arraya Parsons don't have any answers at the net either.
I was just thinking to say, do you think any thought about them going back to the old Parsons Durant, hit a couple let Mark, just start reeling away, and keep him Juan in the middle? Just say show something a little different, or
Something different. In the next court, Anderson Bostrom have double set point, 5-3, 40-15.
All.
get some positive energy from Juan there, Arraya.
Game in first set, Anderson Bostrom, and they're a set away from their first national semifinal. Arraya jumped on that one. A little confusion up there. And Palmer gets caught in the middle.
30-15.
See some positive energy from Arraya, as you pointed out, Matty.
Mm-hmm.
Miss from Broderick.
40-15.
Been a while since Arraya Parsons won a game.
Haven't had any game points either. I mean, so it's
Well, they had one on Parsons' serve.
it's
At
a-
40-30.
There's a big forehand there from Palmer. This is an important game for Arraya Parsons.
But that's the thing. I think that really made Drew that much better a couple years ago was that forehand return. For a couple, for about 2 years, 2 years we would just get that ball back and, just want to wait you out. But now he's got that. He starts up early and goes bigger. Great exchange at the net.
This is a really important point for Arraya Parsons to close this game out.
Mark, he also said, you know, one of the things that one of the big differences you said is, you know, obviously Mark and Juan have made a few more, Parsons and Arraya made a few more mistakes than Broderick and Palmer, but you know, one of the things, you know, is Broderick and Palmer, as you said, not making the mistakes.
And there again, Arraya loses another exchange. Back to the deuce. Great backhand from Broderick through the middle. Broderick Palmer just giving them nothing right now.
No, it's they're taking time away with those block lobs, and as you said, they're not trying to, you know.
And Araya's pushing it when he shouldn't be. So there he had a
Advantage,
big spin
Broderick.
overhead from off the net, made it, but then tried the drop shot when he had no business trying it. Great lob from Palmer. Broderick puts away the drop shot. It's 2-love. And that's
Game,
7
Broderick
consecutive
Palmer. They lead the
games for
second
Broderick
set,
Palmer.
2 games to love. Broderick Palmer won the first set 6-2.
You're talking about things of trying to mix it up a little bit. I think, you know, like how Juan and Arraya Parsons are trying to talk it over a little bit, to come up with a strategy. You know, maybe playing into, you know, Drew's side a little bit more, giving, you know, Jared less balls, because, you know, not only is Jared not missing, he's putting him in, and Drew is the ultimate waiter. He'll wait for the perfect shot and the perfect time.
defenses just seem impregnable right now, Matty.
It is. I mean, I like this move though. Hitting every ball's been basically to Drew, and they've been in, good positioning, so they're not getting out of, they're not, even when Drew hit a great overhead, it's, and Marcus right there on the net. Or when they were playing a lot over it to Jared, they were all over.
And Arraya got a little impatient again and went for Palmer's nick and paid for it. Great lob from Parsons.
Pick up.
But Broderick's got the answer.
But I think earlier in the match, Arraya would have taken that overhead and put it, just would have dumped it into Jared, giving him it. But by putting it over to Broderick, he puts him in a great position.
And again, Arraya trying an aggressive shot from way off the net. And that just further emboldens Broderick Palmer to be more patient. Parsons misses the forehand.
30 love.
And they're in trouble, Matt.
And the hardest part about it is, I think, for Arraya and Parsons.
40 love.
Now they're making a few quicker mistakes. But what has Drew Broderick and Jared Palmer done to give those guys after the 2-1 game? What have they given them? They've not given them a single opportunity. They're suffocating them by standing close to the net, hitting great overheads, and not by just out spinning them and putting them out of position. They're just but they're great front runners.
Okay, we have a great photo booth available in the hospitality tent. I encourage everyone to take a look at it. On the changeover, I'll show you an example of some of the pictures that you could be taking. Parsons misses the forehand wide. Doesn't know the game's
Broderick
over.
Palmer. They lead the second set, 3 games to love. Broderick Palmer won the first, 6-2.
Okay, so here's an example of what you can do in the photo booth. A couple of the APTA's finest. So if you haven't been in there, take a look. Boy, Matt, this is kind of stunning.
I mean, it is. I'm speechless. Which is not easy to get for me to do, but it was a beautiful picture, and I think what you guys have done here, and what has Monty has done here has been a great thing.
Am I on? Okay, so listen, I have been up watching the men's PTI and in the hospitality tent, and what happened here?
Broderick Palmer have missed nothing.
Really?
Arraya Parsons, especially Arraya, has kind of been pushing the action at times. It was 2-1 Arraya Parsons, and they've lost 8 consecutive games.
I think 2-1 was when I cut up and I came back, and it's like, so no rust on Jared Palmer?
He's
Maybe
getting better.
Maybe on the serve a little bit early, but he's just missed nothing over the last half hour.
I think the lights might help.
And Arraya Parsons seemingly have no answers at the net or in the backcourt.
Really?
Yeah, no,
So Arraya's not getting a chance to hit any cutters.
He's
or
hit a
drops,
couple
or?
cutters, but
Yeah.
and both Drew Broderick and Jared Palmer has ran him down.
I think he only hit one winner.
But he's hit
cutter.
like 4 or 5 where they've ran him down and turned their great offensive shot from Juan Arraya into a better push drive or something to that effect. So it's just kind of frustrated him a little bit. And I think the other thing that it has him is Juan Arraya has been, when he takes that medium short ball and he loves to drive it and blitz in behind it, Drew and Jared Palmer have been going forward and not letting him do that.
And happy to say that the third opponent, the sun, has gone down and the lights are on. Wow.
Classic example. I mean, I thought
15.
Arraya Parsons played a pretty good point, but Broderick Palmer had all the answers. I mean, Broderick's been tremendous, and Palmer's been equally good. Just, I mean, that's a rare mistake
15
we've
all.
seen from
He's had in, a set and a half now.
Bostrom Anderson continuing their brilliant play in the next court. And there Arraya gets beaten in transition again.
15-30.
You can see the confidence though in Jared Palmer and Drew Broderick growing, and that's not what you want when you're on the other side of the net. It's to see former champions who, happened to lose an amazing semifinal last year.
15-40.
Arraya misses another cut, hits himself on the head with his paddle. And this thing is going down the drain fast. They're just not even winning a lot of points.
This is the vintage Broderick Palmer back when they were, and their big run and everything they've done. They were confident, they were stepping up, and they're doing a few things that the other teams just, felt like, oh wow, we won what did we just do? It feels like we just won 5 points. Oh, it's 15 love. And then next thing you know, you lose 2 points, and then, you have to, go through the whole body bags of going through it again and again.
Just seems virtually no bad decisions from Broderick Palmer. Almost flawless. There a little confusion with Arraya Parsons there. Broderick misses the lob.
30-40.
Oh, first hand-to-hand exchange that Arraya Parsons won.
Deuce.
Broderick's play has been perfect. Oh, huge forehand from
Advantage,
Palmer.
Broderick.
Another point for 4 love.
Good serve.
Deuce.
Parsons calls for the eye. Arraya says he's going to his right. And Parsons misses the serve by a foot.
Advantage, Broderick.
Just can't string 2 good points together.
Great
Great
volley.
volley. Palmer gets it, and they started new. Perfect lob.
Great hands.
And
Go on.
Arraya
But
tries a
that's
running
Game,
drop
Broderick
shot.
Palmer. They lead the second set, 4-0.
And that's 9
Broderick Palmer won the
consecutive
first
games.
set,
I
6-2.
love the move up. The shot selection was not the right one, unfortunately, but
He's just
love the way they
forcing the
move
action
forward.
as he slams his paddle against his leg. Boy, it's just amazing. I mean, Broderick Palmer struggled. They struggled the PFP event. Jared did not play particularly well in President's Cup. They lost a set to Crick and Lofgren. And here they are dominating the defending national champions.
15 love.
Stunning. Just stunning.
15 all.
great drop shot.
30-15.
But
Great volley from Palmer. And they'll have 2 points for
40,
5-love
15.
lead in 10 consecutive games.
that's a little frustration. I mean, Mark tattooed that backhand pretty well, and that's different. Jared just didn't volley it back. He, kind of put it behind him with a little force, and it just takes a little bit of your own sails out sometimes when the shots you hit. Your opponents can just, not just counter, but counter with some offense.
Great lob from Broderick just inside the line.
No, sure what.
40-30.
Another point for 5-love.
Game,
volley from
Broderick
Palmer.
Palmer. They lead the second set, 5-0. Broderick Palmer won the first set, 6-2.
And Arraya Parsons have switched sides in record time, and they're ready to play and maybe ready to go home. Not talking or on opposite sides of the court. They just looked absolutely befuddled.
It's tough because I don't think they're hitting, a couple shots you could say that they shouldn't have tried, but they're hitting good shots. And then when you have, Drew Broderick and Jared Palmer on the other side playing at the best I've seen him play in a while. I mean, obviously from this year not playing, but even from last year, I mean, this is the form those guys have brought, most of the time, because in the last 4 years, how many times have they lost?
They lost in the semis last year to Hughes Powers, and then they lost in the finals 2 years ago to Hughes Powers. Before that, they'd won 3 consecutive titles.
And during those title runs, how much did they, they lost a few. Their first title run went to
Durant Parsons, beat him a bunch
but
of
then
times.
after that, and the names you just said of that happened to beat those gentlemen in the semis and finals are, as we said, some of the best, not just in the country but ever too already, and John Hughes and Mark Powers.
Great slot.
Precise forehand.
Love,
He hit
15.
it hard. He just took a little pace off.
Arraya tries a tweener. They just look done. No
Love,
answers at
30.
all. 2 points from the match. Oh,
Good swing,
Broderick
though.
was on that ball,
15-30.
tattooed it. Broderick misses the lob long.
30
It's 30
all.
all.
Bring a little life back to these two.
Not there yet. Great view of Palmer following the ball.
You can see, though, the best part about all 4 of those, but you can see the last 2 watching Broderick and Palmer. As they're lobbing the ball, they don't care where it goes. They know where it goes. They keep their head still and just put it there and get ready for the next one.
There's that great Broderick backhand from inside the court. Firing away.
hit that overhead though by Arraya after getting fired on, not just him trying to win the point, keep it going a little bit. And
Oh, he catches the nick, and
40-30.
Palmer's not ready. It might be the first mental mistake of the match. Just goes to show you the quality of their play.
knowing Drew Broderick as long as I know, I mean, he's gonna, at this point, he's gonna, you know, it's, even though they're up 5-0, he wants to win this point. He wants to keep the pressure on. He's not one of those, it's, you know, one game. He knows what every point means.
Pinpoint backhand there. Finds Parsons' right hip in the error. Parsons Arraya hitting a ton of water polo overheads here. I just don't think they know what to do.
Such great racket control. All of them, they come into net, towards the net. It's
With Broderick Palmer doing such a great job of keeping themselves out of dangerous positions.
yeah. One of the things I remember a few years ago watching, you know, when Hughes and Powers started coming up, is they, you know, listening to their coach Jim Kaufman, who was telling us about how they really work on letting balls go that are the, you know, because you know your partner can help you. Not, you know, trying to make the stab shots and trying to look good, and then you know, only if you know for sure that you have to ball. It makes a big difference, and that's what you see most of the shots here. You know, any ball that Broderick Palmer can't get, they know that their partner can help them out.
So Ivers and Sanford are into the finals of the PTI. Doing the second set 7-6. Looks like Burrish or Doya are up 4-1 in the second. Here's where Arraya Parsons just had no impact on the match whatsoever. Just a complete inability to hurt them when they're at the net.
I know they're in transition, but interesting to see, you know, if they can pull this off. If, you know, especially when winning, if they win a point this way, if it wouldn't be the worst for those guys to, you know, as you said, switch it up a little bit when they're at the backcourt. It's too good.
They've had all the answers.
Advantage, Broderick.
Match point.
Great hands there.
And there it is. Game,
Game.
set, and match.
Broderick
Palmer,
Palmer.
6-2,
They win the match
6-love.
6-2, 6-love.
Virtually flawless match.
Yeah, Broderick Palmer can keep it that, you know, match intensity and that, you know, focus. Gonna be hard to beat them tomorrow, Mark.
Okay, we're going to have a interview with our. We're going to take a break here, and then we're going to be back with an interview with our winners right here on the APTA network, presented by eNet Live.
When people think of Roto-Rooter, they typically just think plumbing and water cleanup. And they wouldn't be wrong, but we do a whole lot more. Roto-Rooter. Yeah, we do that too.
The world of Rolex is filled with stories of perpetual excellence. Since 1990, the Solheim Cup has elevated women's golf. Team USA challenges Team Europe, upholding the traditions of sportsmanship and teamwork. As the women's game grows, the Solheim Cup will continue to shape its future. This is a story of perpetual excellence, the story of Rolex.
Okay, welcome back to the Country Club at Darien. I'm here with our first national semifinalists, Drew Broderick, Jared Palmer. Guys, that was an unbelievable performance. Jared, you've been playing a lot of paddle in Stockholm and Menlyn Park?
Yeah, it's getting very popular over there. Yeah, I've been playing every day.
Apparently, because that was brilliant.
I've been playing every day for a week, so that's something.
But that harkened back to the days when you guys won 3 consecutive national championships. That's as good as I've ever seen you play.
Drew's given me some good advice, and we battled through some interesting shot selection on my part. But today, I mean, this afternoon, everything sort of came together. You know, I thought we played well as a team. We had a good strategy, and I don't know, we did everything kind of well, and they didn't have an answer today.
Yeah, they had no answers at all. I'd ask about that strategy, but I know Drew won't tell me.
Definitely not.
But tell me about the last match against Crick and Lofgren. You guys lose the second set. You're down in the third. I mean, obviously you didn't play at this level. Did something click in for you in the third set there?
Yeah, I think today we struggled a little bit against those guys, and it was touch and go there for a little bit. And starting with a third set, we just kind of hit our groove. I don't know what happened. We just started to shots started to fall, and we got into a good rhythm, and we kept it going right through in this match. You know, and this was our best match so far, obviously.
Yeah, it's hard to believe anything could be better than that. Drew, any thoughts?
Yeah, early on in the third of that last match, I think I started to feel that sense of urgency. Basically, put everything I got into that match, and no hesitation. They're a good team. They played great, and I definitely feel like after about the second or third game, we turned it up a whole nother level, just as far as discipline and execution. So we carried that match into this one. We were confident with our game plan, and to be honest, I don't recall one shot that was out of place for us in that last match.
Yeah, and it seemed to me you were playing closer to the baseline, Drew, and that backhand was just a devastating weapon.
Yeah, I've been confident in my backhand, and they gave me a lot of looks at it. So, they're such a good team, and I was just very disciplined to go for it at the right time, as Juan could be super dangerous at the net if you drive a ball at the wrong time. So, there were a handful of things that I just tried to focus on throughout the whole match, not think about the score. And again, just basically Groundhog Day every point. Same thing, same strategy, and be relentless. That's all I kept saying to Jared. Let's just be relentless.
Relentless is a great choice of words. You guys played a virtual flawless match, won the last 11 games, and I don't think they had game points in a lot of them.
Yeah. I'm really happy how I'm serving. I wouldn't say this was one of my better seasons for how I served. Jared was pretty flawless this season serving. I don't think he faulted up until this week. So
He didn't make any errors up until this week.
No, but it's fun to be out here with him again, as always, and competing. I think we're hitting our stride at the right time in the tournament.
Okay, well, Vince, any closing thoughts on that match?
What do you think, Vince?
Good.
Okay, Vince says good. Vince, I would say great. Okay, we'll be back with our next men's national quarterfinal at 6:30. And we'll be after these messages right here on the APTA Network, presented by eNet Live.